The number of MP3 players a company sells per month can be modeled by negative 2.35p plus 470. What price P of the MP3 players will maximize the company's revenue? And then what is the maximum revenue? So the first thing we need to do is we need to create a revenue function. Okay, and that revenue function is the following. So writing a function to model the revenue, recall that the revenue equals price times the number of units sold. We're going to let R equal revenue, P is equal to the price, and X is the number of MP3 players sold. So the revenue is given by the following. R, which is equal to P times X. Now let's go back to the question. Okay, now what does the question tell us? Well, the question tells us that the number of MP3 players a company sells per month can be modeled by that equation, which is negative 2.35p plus 470. Okay, that represents X. So we're going to replace X to be that equation. So let's go ahead and do that. So for step 1, we have R, which is equal to P times negative 2.35p plus 470. Okay, now if we distribute that p, then we're going to get a quadratic function which represents r, which is equal to negative 2.35p squared plus 470p. Okay, so basically what this is saying is that we're going to have an ordered pair that represents p and then capital R, where p is like the x coordinate and then r is the y coordinate. So now that we have a quadratic function, to answer our question, what we can do is then determine, okay, what is the coordinates of the vertex? So let's find the coordinates of the vertex. Well, we know that A is equal to negative 2.35. We know that B represents 470. We know that C is equal to 0. And then keep in mind that because A is equal to negative 2.35 and that's less than 0, that means that this parabola would open down, which tells us that we're going to have a maximum point, which is what we're looking for. We want to look for the maximum revenue. So let's go ahead and find out what H is of the vertex, which is negative B over 2A. So it's negative 470 divided by 2 times negative 2.35. So we know it's going to be a positive. So we get 470. And then we're going to divide that by 2 times 2.35. And that's equal to 4.7. So if we take 470 and divide that by 4.7, then we get 100. Now if we want to find the value of k, we want to find f of 100, or in this case, not f of 100, but this is going to be p or r of 100, since r is the function name. So we're going to plug in r in for p, so it's going to be negative 2.35 times 100 squared plus 470 times 100. So if we take 100 and then square it and then multiply it by negative 2.35, then we get negative 23,500. And then 470 times 100 is 47,000. So if we add 47,000 to negative 23,500, then we get 23,500. So what does that tell us? Well, that tells us that the vertex is located at 123,500. Okay, now remember that this represents P, and this is going to represent the revenue. So therefore, we can then say that the P represents what is the price of the MP3 players that will maximize the company's revenue? Well, we know that P is going to equal $100. And then what is the maximum revenue? Well, we can see that that represents the maximum value, and that's the max revenue, and that is at $23,500.